Hi, I'm Mark Grainger. For years, I've watched people struggle to become the person they want to be. I've even struggled in my own struggles. I've been fortunate enough to meet some great mentors that really helped me set some goals and do some things to really make some changes. Like me, you've probably set your goals, gone to seminars, hired coaches, but you wake up at the end of the day, and you find that you're pretty much the same person, only full of a lot more knowledge that really gets put into action. Does that sound familiar? Are you looking to make that change? When it comes to personal transformation, there are certain fundamentals you simply must be aware of. Your life will be more of a struggle. When it comes to making change, there's a certain strategy that allows it to happen. In order to achieve your goals and dreams, you have to become someone different than you are now. You have to learn the inner game of transformation. There have been a lot of really great contributions to the field of human potential. And one of them that stands tall is neurolinguistic programming, or NLP. And I was fortunate enough to be introduced to NLP almost 20 years ago. NLP introduced to us the concept that there is a structure and pattern to all human experience. Let me explain this a little bit. What that means is that when you have an emotion or an experience, there's a structure to it. There's a pattern. And every time you access those emotions, you're slipping into those patterns. You may have noticed in your effort to make change that you have usually about 4 or 5 consistent emotions that are the ones that you have. What's happening is that you keep tapping into certain patterns and the structure of emotions. So NLP, through physiology, how we use our body, language, the words that we use, and the intonations and inflections, and focus, where we put our brain, has a lot to do with how we access these structures and these patterns. So there are some basic fundamentals and some basic foundations about transformation and change that'll make it easier for you. The first one is to understand that behavior is defined not just in what you do. Behavior is your actions, your thoughts, and your beliefs. Take a moment to think a little bit about that. Everything that you do in the way of your emotions, your thinking, and your actions are all defined as behavior. This allows you to take control of the aspects that may be automatic for you or habitual behaviors that you want to change. The next thing you want to be aware of is that the unconscious mind is control of our behavior. Beneath the surface, and what's going on there has much more to do with the outcomes and the things that are going on in your life than your actual conscious mind. The concept of ego is something that I want you to be aware of. This was introduced to us by several different kind of New Age thinkers. Edgar Tolle's one of them. Marianne Williamson talks a lot about it. And ego is that piece within us that has a tendency to create separation, to see ourselves as different, unique, special from other people. It doesn't allow us to really tune into a flower and see that this flower is something beautiful and that we're connected to this life form. So the ego has this tendency to create all this separateness in the world. And this creates a lot of pain. So the ego in a lot of ways can be the source of our pain. Now, one of the things that you might be struggling with is trying to destroy the ego. Well, in reality, that's just the ego kicking back in. The ego is very strong and has some very interesting ways of creating illusion and manipulating our thinking. It keeps us focused on the outer forms and living external, where change, real change, occurs internally. There's ego forces versus spiritual forces. Ego forces keep you isolated and focused on what keeps you separate and distant from other people. Spiritual forces connect you to things. They are the forces that allow us to see commonality among our colleagues, our friends, our family, the universe, animals, plants, things in nature. So we want to understand that spiritual forces are the things that allow us to tap into what's real. When we tap into ego forces, we start seeing a false sense of self. So we want to focus on changing our unconscious beliefs, not the behavior, but not behavior. By focusing on our beliefs and changing what is going on unconsciously, we can look at not having to worry about changing the behavior. So let's say that you want to stop biting your nails. Oftentimes what you'll do in trying to stop biting your nails is you'll focus on not biting your nails. You'll think about the behavior. When what you really want to do is let go of the symptom and look at the system. What's going on internally with your thoughts and your beliefs? Nail biting is a nervous habit. So what's going on with that internally, with the internal chaos that's making you need to be able to have this particular behavior? See, if you strive to not bite your nails, You're not going to be tapping into the power that is you, the power to make change. And you do this through the creative use of your breath, your heart, and your imagination. Your beliefs are reinforced through the rituals, the self-talk, and the habitual physiology of our bodies and our thoughts. This goes back to NLP. So you want to realize that the rituals that we create in our lives, perhaps one of the rituals you have would be biting your nails, is actually reinforcing this false sense of self. So by tuning into the spiritual forces that live within you, by slowing down, getting in touch with the moment and the beauty of your life, you start to be able to take control of your focus. Right now, the ego drives your focus. Whether you want to achieve, be different, or overcome things, oftentimes this comes from a place of ego as opposed to a place of spirit. So we need to spend less time and energy between our ears and more time in our hearts, acknowledging the real beauty in life.